We on?
We are on. Hello, everybody. So
Hello.
there we go.
I
We've
didn't.
actually...
I must have completely missed that. I was currently typing away in my own little world. Welcome everybody to the LJL officially unofficial broadcast, bringing you coverage of the LJL 2021 Spring Split Super Week. Final two games are now upon us. I'm 14 games down, 2 left to go this weekend. It's been a busy few. Must one here, but of course, new faces here on this side. There we go. And that is Counterfeit. Hello, sir.
Hello. I can't believe the amount of work you guys do. It's honestly eye-watering.
We do try our absolute best to bring coverage of the LJL as it is one of our favorite regions. And the match we're coming into for you, Counterfeit, is going to be against the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming facing off against Rascal Jester. And Rascal Jester have just come off an absolutely amazing performance against fellow second place players of V3 Esports. And coming into this match, it's fair to say it's Rascal Jester slightly favoured.
Yeah, I mean, you come off a five-game win streak right now, including beating DFM for only the second time this season they've lost at all. And for Hawks, they're on a 4-game cold streak. So certainly
Yeah.
stats are not in their favor.
Yeah, the Hawks are definitely feeling a little bit sorry about themselves. Day one of Super Week was not kind to them at all, not being unable to pick up a victory there. A victory here would definitely help them hugely for the playoff contentions as well, with the Super Week almost done, this is the most important thing for a lot of these teams. This is where Super Week will be locked in for a lot of them. And we already know that at this point in time, Detonation Focus Me, V3 Esports, and Rascal Jester have already soft locked themselves for playoffs. They haven't got their places sorted. We still have another week of playing for that. But this is a brilliant spot for the Hawks to start turning it on here, Counterfeit.
Well, for sure. I mean, getting the upset here pushes their own attempts to get into that top 6 as well as potentially influencing the top of the table themselves. It's worth bearing in mind, though, in week 4, when they played against each other, Rascal Jester won pretty convincingly at 31 minutes. The big difference in that game was the top lane, where Jester completely dominated, Kanatu pulling off an incredible performance on Aatrox.
Yeah, Kanatu, one of my LJL scouting ground players. I have a soft spot for all of the scouting ground pro players that came in. We've got 3 of them, and I'm a huge fan of all of them. He had an incredible week, and this was against Apperman, who is one who had arguably the best stats in the summer split in 2020. We were coming into this, and this is one of the reasons why the Hawks were seen to be one of the better teams coming into the spring 2021. It hasn't worked out. Communication is clearly not working, at least on a surface level. We don't know what's going on in the background, obviously. But this team just hasn't gelled together, and 3 wins is sadly continuation of spring and summer, really, for this team. They're just not able to get it to work, regardless of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, last week against Crest Gaming against Sengoku, they're both times losing out. The only piece of good news from that is that Zenit did very, very well, considering the circumstances. And Dasher on Victor in the mid lane also managed to pull off a performance which looked like they were on the winning team, even while the rest of the team was falling to pieces.
It really was, but honestly, we can shout hypotheticals to our heart's content, Counterfeit, but I think what we need to do is actually see how this game is going to go down. So Patrick, would you mind introducing us to the pick and ban phase?
Oh, all right, so the Hawks gonna be over on the blue side, stripping away the Senna as the first ban. Of course, Essol, the bot laner for the Rascal Jester side of things, has been doing an amazing job on Ezreal themselves recently, much as Zenit has as well.
Yeah, for Rascal Jester on the red side, we've got Kinatu, Hachimecha, Recap, Soul, and Secret, and they're on dominant performance. It's going to be the Hawks, obviously, on the blue side, as you mentioned, and we're already seeing Gragas and Lilia get ripped away from them as well.
Yeah, Lilia, one of Tussle's strongest picks. Skarner still in the mix as one of the options for them, as Udyr is banned away. Hachimecha has been doing very well on that Udyr, so seems like we're going to be getting a fair amount of jungle attention from both these teams in the early going.
Absolutely, and I mean, jungle focus makes total sense. Hachimecha has been half carrying a lot of games for them, as well as for the Jesters. They are going to be looking to assist Hachimecha, whereas Tussle has been having a lot of good spots for them. He has been a sign of pressure, and he is known to be a shot caller, so that's why they're going for it. But Seraphine was made it through the pick and ban phase, and as such, she is locked in first for the Hawks.
All right. Well, that's, we thought all those bans was jungle, so maybe we thought we were going to see an early jungle pick. The Seraphine, that is a solid pickup for Dash. I don't believe Corporal's shown off so far on the pick as of yet, but could still be headed down there.
Absolutely could play it, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Corporal would play it. But he is a friend on the Discord, so we do occasionally get to see some tech from him and some information. But I don't know, but as you have rightly pointed out, Dasher has played that Seraphine once before, so potentially it will be going in his direction. Rel has been responsive. Secret will be looking to do that, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of AD carry they're looking to pair with this Rel, as honestly, most of them look good, and Hachimecha wants to run it back. He just had a great game on this Skarner versus V3 Sports, and he's like, haven't died yet on Skarner. Let's do it another game.
And this could be a problem here for the Hawks, because as we mentioned, the Tussle Skarner is their other pick, along with Lydia that we've seen perform well on. Everything else we've seen so far hasn't been so strong, but maybe if they do lock in at the Hecarim here, the pure power of the pick. No, I got baited. It's going to be the Kaiser for Zenit.
You got baited, but a little bit outsmarted, but you're allowed to. The Kaiser does get locked in, and we've been seeing so much of this champion, and not just international play, but in LJL. It's one of the most popular picks at the moment in the AD carry role. It's a little hot and cold for some players. It seems like some players can always make her work, and other players do struggle. Be interesting to see this time, and we're seeing Tussle did prioritize a jungler. They did want one, but they wanted to just see which direction Rascal Jester going in, and they've locked in that Graves.
All right, so we needed something strong for Tussle, and we have it. Certainly for Zenit, they're most commonly seen on the Kaiser, so they're definitely on a comfort pick. We still yet to see if we're going to be seeing SL back on that amazing Ezreal. It won't get picked up instead. It looks like Kanatu is going to try and go back to that previous game to dominate the top lane with the Gnar.
It's a little bit surprising that we're seeing that, but maybe Rascal Jester is showing a bit of the exploitable spots that Kinatu has found in Apperman's champion pool. Apperman has been known in the past, even though he's been playing on the LJL longer than most other players in the league, he does have a pretty weak champion pool, and it is one of the smaller ones. Not huge with depth, but Kanatu is already showing that he has got a range as he is such a young player, and this Gnar counterfeit coming out to really prevent Apperman from doing anything, immediately banning out their gangplank. Rascal Jesters look like they had a plan here. They already banned that Gragas, they're banning the gangplank. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see another top lane ban, maybe that Camille that we've seen from Apperman before, and then just going, hey, you can't do anything. They actually don't. They go with the Alistair to prevent Corporal's Alistair from coming out.
So, Apperman, we've seen them definitely bring out just more pure tank picks before. But Renekton is a pick for them, which is still pretty strong and is still left open if they want to take the melee into range matchup.
Yeah, so they've got some little bit of picks here. We see Souls, Callista get banned out here, and I'm not too surprised, but that Ezreal, as you have been hinting towards, is still available. They also got rid of the Tristana, which we haven't been seeing a huge amount, but when we have seen it, it absolutely popped off. And we actually saw it once already today. I believe it was Utapon playing it back-to-back games for Donation Focus Me and got W's on that. So, of course, Soul is like, well, I can't do the Tristana. They prevented me from doing that. I will do exactly as Counterfeit predicted, and I'll pick that Ezreal.
Oh boy, this feels like such a risk for the Hawks here. Sol has been ridiculous on the Ezreal. Now they're going to get a chance to do it again with the solid support of the Rel. It looks like Apperman's not going to take up the challenge of fighting Hinato in the top lane. Instead, just going to bring out the solid power of the Ornn, as we'll finally get to see what the final pick will be for the Hawks.
To be another, hopefully, I'm out. I'm like actual hand on heart face when it happened. I know why they keep doing this, but against a comp against Skarner, I really don't like this. And oh my god, Rascal Jesters are just BMing them with the Lucian hover. I doubt this is going to be locked in, by the way. That though could be, but it's a bit risky. Ooh. Okay.
We know Recap's pretty much good on anything. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see the Syndra coming through here, since it wasn't banned and it's been an amazing pick for them before. But let's now look at the Silas watch. What are they going to nick here?
Silas versus Seraphine. I mean, it's a brilliant ultimate to steal. Honestly, all the ultimates on the side of the Hawks are pretty good to steal for Silas. Killer Instinct is great because, hey, I can just get onto somebody really far back in the line. Obviously, Corporal's ultimate on this Rakan is great to grab. You can get the Encore. So far, all of these are going to be really good. So I actually really like the Silas pick. It's unorthodox, obviously, but it definitely offers a lot of pick potential for the side of Rascal Jesters. These are two very different drafts. Obviously, the Hawks are going for scaling. They picked the Ornn, and they're like, we just want to get to the 35-minute mark, and then we should just win every team fight. We can do front to back, and we have Corporal who can come in from the side and randomly, hopefully, charm 2 to 3 members, and we win with that. On the opposite side, though, the Hawks want to do something completely different. They want to just pick apart and destroy everybody in 5v5s.
Yeah, I mean, we know that, that Jester can absolutely do that. I mean, if we compare these two teams, what they can do with a lead in the early game, the Hawks, they're pretty solid. They know how to get through the early game without falling to a disadvantage. But for Rascal, they tend to dominate in the early going. If they're ahead at 15 minutes, Rascals win 3 out of 4 of their games. So expect the opening 15 minutes to be a one hell of a time.
I was going to ask you, what's the percentage? I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised that they win almost all their games, and they probably lost one of those games when they were ahead in the first few weeks of the LJL, when they were definitely looking more like a shaky team. Now that this team has well and truly come online and they are revving their engines up as they come in, and I imagine Hatcher is actually fully starting his Skarner. He might be there with a pull lead, just going, come on, mate, come on, we gotta go fast. And they did exactly that in the last game. They were absolutely dominant, and in a performance where they were able to go 1-0-12. They were one of the most important parts of the Rascal Jester lineup, and I'm so surprised Hatcher has been allowed to get the Skarner a second time around against a team which the Hawks have drafted of a bunch of squishies.
Yeah, and especially considering it was also a pick away from the Hawks as well.
Yeah.
What another facet for the opening part of this game as well is neither of these teams are known for getting a tremendous amount of first bloods. I mean, the Jesters are ahead of that, and they've only get first blood in a third of their games, vastly less for the Hawks. So maybe the Hawks get to write this one out early if they can avoid that first blood from going through at all.
I think that's pretty fair to say. Both these teams have a pretty equal average game time. The Hawks are 32, almost 33 minutes, and Rascal Jester are also 33. So what you're saying around, obviously, well, it counter picks them. They've got different things. Both of these teams normally play to around the same time in the game, and this is what the comps are perfectly. At the 30-minute mark, as I mentioned, this is when the Hawks lineup comes online, but we've all seen Silas when he gets to 16 and he just starts healing so much, you just can't kill him. There's going to have to be a lot of anti-healing. There's going to have to be a lot of different things happening. And I just don't know if the Hawks are going to be able to get over the hump. If they can, there's definitely a good opportunity for them. But I'm having flashbacks from when they first fought Counterfeit, and I'm not looking happy for the Hawks lineup.
I mean, if we're trying to draw some good news from last time these two teams played, Tussle in the jungle, Dash in the mid lane, both of them did decently well. I mean, that's possibly
absolutely
damning with faint praise. But in terms of those are places that they were kind of somewhat even. I mean, particularly Dasher and Recap, they ended up with almost exactly the same amount of gold in the game. So
Yeah.
if Silas is the place where we could maybe see the most explosivity come out for the Jesters, maybe, just maybe, that can be neutralized by the Hawks by Dasher.
And directly talking about Corporal in the bot lane, even though they lost both their games, he was very much seen as a glimmer of hope. He was landing huge rel ults. His Alistair got banned in the second rotation from the Jesters. Like, there is a level of respect when a player is like, yeah, but there's that one champion that could cause us issues, and if they get there, it could mean we lose this game, or at least it makes things more difficult for us. I think there's definitely an opportunity on Corporal on his Rakan, which was a very important pick back in his Axis days. It's how they were able to sometimes even stand in a game, like stay in a game. Not they didn't win that game. Axis still lost, but they were able to win. He's no longer Axis, he's on the Hawks now, and it's going to be important to see if they can at least look strong. If they can't win this game, at least look strong, so when they have the final game of the day for the LJLOU against Axis, if they'll be able to win that one. But hey, we're on the Rift right now, Counterfeit, and we're just seeing large fan outs from all members of both teams.
Yeah, and I say every second here that's bought for the Hawks without them getting rolled over by the Jesters, I think is a second well earned. So no early shenanigans. Going to be both junglers starting up in the top side. There's no vision down the bottom to get full confirmation that this is the case for either side, though.
No, we haven't seen anything. Blitzcrank Sun coming through, and it's even. It's so close to even. 1% to the Hawk, 1% to the Jesters. But we've come to learn, I don't think nameplates are counted. It looks just at champion power.
Sure.
And it looks at it and goes, okay, what's the average worldwide win percentage? We've been slowly watching Blitzcrank San as he's only on the LJ. Oh, he hasn't got his timeline ready. He's not very happy. Oh, now he has. Okay. And as you can see, it waves very far and around. It takes an average and then goes, this is it. This is his prediction for the full 30-minute mark, or 35 minutes, and this is the AI power spikes of when these two teams do it. As you can see, into late game or mid to late game, Rascal Jester should pull ahead a little bit early, but after that it will be pretty 50-50. So these teams are incredibly close.
Oh boy, and as you said, this is for the Jesters a team that can really take off at around the 15-minute mark, and they've got the team to do it here. As we're seeing heavy trading down in the bottom side. Of course, Corporal's going to be able to shield up a lot more effectively than Secret will if it comes to a death battle.
We currently look at it. We're seeing both these junglers start on their respective top sides rather, and then clear and index towards the bot lane. They're going to be fighting over the Scuttle Crab, and if I remember rightly, Skarna's average clear time is slightly faster. Tussle knows that, and he's already coming around.
Tussle just on the side there, but unfortunately the engage is no good. So RJ will be able to stay alive for the time being. Tussle getting actually chased down by their Skarna pick. Of course, range into melee means that if that Skarna can't close the distance, then things suddenly get a lot more awkward.
Secret's attack speed is so slow on this Rel. It really is true what everyone said. Rel's attack speed is just the saddest thing to watch.
Well,
being early burnt here by Recap, and obviously just to catch the wave, early game is going to be really rough for Recap, as we all expected. You're lying to yourself if you didn't expect Recap to have a difficult time early game. This is Dasher. Ooh, huge damage onto Corporal, though.
Yeah, Corporal getting taken down very low. You can see that the mana bar of Zenit is almost running dry at this point. Whereas the Soul, they're looking healthy.
Jungle and top lane just slapping each other, saying hello as they pass by.
Corporal almost kept caught napping there, so it's going to be the 2v1 advantage for the Jesters down the bottom lane, I think, for a time being, as Corporal has to go back to base. At least has held on to their flash, so the damage isn't major as long as Zenit can ride out these next few minutes.
Yeah, and so far it's been pretty quiet across all lanes. Yes, people are slapping one another, but that's perfectly acceptable in the early game. We've hit the 5-minute mark almost, and nothing unexpected has happened. Recap is about a wave of CS down at the moment, and he is pushing in. Well, he's waiting for these waves actually for the Seraphine. Hajametra is there, that's why he was kind of okay to be a little bit deeper up, as both these mid laners will happily farm up. Recap will have to wait until he gets 6 to really gain any kill potential onto Dasher, but once he has that, and once Hajametra has 6, it's going to be easy, but he's looking for this chicken. Oh, his reset. Oh, this is awkward.
Oops, missing the chicken delivery there. Hajametra's going to stick around though, try and get a little bit of vision. You can see they're trying to put down pressure onto Tussle, who's actually got a level advantage, so falling back for the time being. Secret has been roaming around, looking to maybe set up for an early Drake.
Yeah, and Soul's already pushing in this turret and getting the platings down, so it's looking like this. Corporal is coming around. Let's see if they can do anything. Are you feeling ballsy, boys? Are you feeling like you can do this, or do you want to just let this go over?
We've got pretty good vision for both teams here, though I'm not sure the Hawks realized that they were getting spotted on the way in. Unfortunately, Sol's going to be the one to get to the Drake first. Looks like the Hawks are willing to concede the early objective in exchange for safety.
Well, and part of this was also the fact that Recap had pushed the wave up pretty aggressively, so they weren't going to have any assistance from Seraphine unless she wanted to sacrifice a bunch of wave. Because she didn't, they're able to secure that first dragon, and it means at least the Jesters don't have to feel so bad about being only 100 gold down. That's a pretty comfortable place. Ooh, Corporal?
Sol might be a little less comfortable, but Tussle again going to be down in the bottom lane, but not finding the gank. There's a CS advantage for Sol down there at the moment, so I can understand why the Hawks have got their attention, but so far has borne no fruit.
Now Recap has 6. He's stolen the Encore, so now Dasher has to be very scared if he pulls up a bit too far out of his turret range.
There we go. It's cashed in. Of course, we'll be looking for follow-ups to that stolen Encore with perhaps a Skarner Impale being very hard to escape from when you're fully CC'd.
Corporal taking a large amount of damage there. The dismount coming out from the rail really locked up Corporal, but it wasn't quite enough. Ignite was used by Secret there, so now we just go back to resting. There's no kill pressure really on any of these players. Dasher might have to be a little bit worried if Recap's able to land a hook, and oh no, Zenit.
Zenit forcing out the flash. Sol actually tanking the tower though. This could be a big disaster. True Shot Barrage comes across the bow. It's First Blood and Secret so close to being taken out. Corporal gets the return kill.
It's Corporal that gets it. That's only an assist onto Zenit, and that was the Ignite being popped by Corporal as well, so both supports no longer have their Ignite. And anything, this is favoring Sol, because he can just play aggressive onto Zenit at the moment.
Yeah, we see that Sol using their range to be able to fight from just outside of the tower's reach, getting these untraded hits back in, and a decent amount of pressure onto these early plates. They've got the CS advantage, they're going to have the gold advantage from the plates as well.
We're just going to have to wait for it. Recap, though, in this mid lane is still AFK farming. He is pretty far behind when it comes to the CS, as Dash has been farming very well. The issue is he hasn't actually converted that into anything. This Seraphine has been stuck in the mid lane this whole time, just trying to prevent Recap from doing anything. So, if anything, it's doing exactly what the Jesters want to do. They just want to let this game go on for a bit longer. They need to scale up, and they need to wait till the 50-minute mark when they get their first mythics in, and they all engage and come online.
Yeah, they're going to be extremely scary when that happens. Jesters look like they're going to try and convert this early game into some more tower plates. So they've got hold of that Herald, and they'll be able to turn what has been a very close early game into maybe, just maybe, something that could start to snowball.
So, when they're looking at this, Secret is looking... Oh, God, Secret, what? That's Tussle. What are you doing in our jungle?
How
I imagine is what Secret was thinking. He's like, I'm just going to come around and... Wait a second. That's a Tussle. That's a Graves. That's not my jungler. My jungler is behind me? Oh, no.
Yes, it's a nice little opportunity taken there by the Hawks. As we saw before with the Drake, for the Jesters, they had great control over there. I don't think they were expecting anyone from the Hawks side to be able to sneak into their territory and actually start taking away any of these assets from them. So,
with us currently looking at the game state, mythic items are still on the horizon for the time being, so we won't be seeing that anytime soon. Tussle is on the horizon. He's just waiting to see if anyone... Corporal pops the ult.
It's going to miss again, though, so a third visit to Tussle down the bottom side. Hachimaka will come in, has got the Impale up and available, but won't decide to cash it in. Both sides back off. We're still working towards that 50 minutes as Tussle takes a True Shot Barrage in the face to send them packing as well.
Look at what Hachimetra is at the moment. He's hunting for this Seraphine. He wants Dasher to go the wrong way back to his lane, and he will pounce on him. He didn't see them, but now he's looking for Tussle.
Yeah, you can see Tussle. I don't think he's going to see this one coming, perhaps until it's too late. Picking up the Shrine should send a message to Tussle that they have to watch out. Hachimetra will finally get that chicken they've been hankering for all this time.
Just forcing it down, and because of everything, because they were able to have such a good disengage from Rascal Jester, they don't have to worry about it, and Hachimetra's here, and he's getting the Rift Herald here. They want to push it. They want kills.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. The plates, down to 3 on that bottom tower means it's very vulnerable. We have got Tussle here who's on a ward. So ultimately, the first tower goal won't drop immediately. We've already seen that Jester are putting a hell of a lot of pressure on.
But look at this. Normally when you do a play like this, oh, wow, Kinatu, you just taking it to Upper Man. Normally when you see this kind of stuff happen around the map that a Rift Tower gets used, normally there's a trade somewhere on the map from the counter jungler. Except they know that that can't be the case because Tussle was just forced back to base so he could actually not only heal up, but buy items he hadn't brought for so long because he had been pulled around the map so much. Kinatu was allowed to know, hey, I can just push up. Hatchet is like, great, we can make a play in bot lane if we get a kill. If that's great. If we don't, guess what? We'll just take this dragon. Oh my god, this is the 4th Cloud Rift in a day for me. Oh, I wanted something different.
Don't worry. Every Cloud Soul has a silver lining, or so they say. I mean, certainly the silver lining for the Hawks, even if they've given up the early plates, they've given up the early Drakes, is they're not that far behind in gold, if nothing else. With mid lane, there's no plates taken, only 1 plate taken in top. I mean, we're talking about the 15-minute power spike for the Jesters. At least before that spike, the Hawks aren't that far behind.
No, they well and truly do have their own ways into this game. We do see first items getting brought in for the players on the map. We saw that Iceborne, Rimforge no, it's not the Rimforge Grasp, it's the Frostfire Gauntlet come out for Apperman in this top lane. We see the Essence Reaver coming out. Ooh, no. We see the Essence Reaver coming out for Soul here. I'm like, no, nothing's happening. Currently at the moment. So I wonder if we're going to see what we've seen from Soul a bunch of times, if we're going to see a mythic item like the Dustblade come out, or if we're not going to see it and we're going to see Ezreal builds where we don't go for any mythics.
Well, Jesters, they don't care about items right now. They can care about getting this tower. They're committing full resources into the bottom lane. TP coming back in from the Hawks. We do have Soul going down very, very low. Zenit gets the kill, but the rest of the Jesters are here. It's going to be a massacre. Recap locks down the 80 carry kill as it's turning it into a very close fight. Recap on the edge of the fight as Sasha too far in will get eliminated as well. Give Kinatu the double kill. Looks like the Hawks will not be able to back away from this one. Kinatu chasing them under the tower, and that tower standing is the only thing stopping the chase down.
Doing so much, we're not even having Mega Gnar. We're not used to a Mini Gnar actually doing and being important and useful in a team fight. I would argue that Kinatu was far more impactful in that fight than Apperman was. And that's an all with an item completion. That is unreal, the power of this Mini Gnar coming out, immediately going back and now getting that Divine Sunderer. But let's come into this replay. So it all began when Corporal went really aggressive onto Soul. However, the stun coming out really prevented a lot of the other damage that was going to come out from Zenit. For so long, Corporal, that we saw there, that they were able to stay alive for Soul, but that amazing ultimate that came out, the knockups that came through, but no one was able to follow up on it, and afterwards, Corporal was just left to fend for himself. Dasher is then just sitting there, and this whole time, Kinatu's just been wailing on them with auto attacks and Qs and jumping on people's heads to slow them down. It's why they were able to chase after for so long. Sadly, they weren't able to get Apperman, but they were able to get the turret. They're pushing their lead a bit forward, and this is now a 3k gold lead coming out for the Rascal Jesters. So much turret plating coming out, and 0 for the side of the Hawks.
And we're just short of that 15 minutes. Time to get extremely worried. Yep, the Hawks get drawn into a fight. They take the kind of situation. I love what we were seeing as well there. The Rascal Jester, they had 3 different members all on minimal health. So you do have a cheeky attempt to get into the jungle. Secret will get a little bit caught out here. TP coming in as Tussle gets impaled and dragged back into the squad. Secret is the trade presumptive as Dasher locks down the kill. Recap on the side, looking to try and go and steals away. The ult is going to get killed there. The double kill for Dasher. This could be the Hawks turning things back round again. But keep your eyes on Apperman, who's down incredibly low. Zenit is almost dead as well. Apperman is going to give their life to ensure the rest of the team escapes.
So it ends up actually being a preferable trade for the Rascal Jesters. Even though it was such a messy exchange throughout all of it, it ended up being a 3 for 2 in favor of the Jesters, I believe. So, hey, that works out. Even if it's just a 2 for 2 and my math is completely off, it's still fine for the Jesters because they're able to just keep pushing the oppression, the pressure and aggression as we come into this replay. It all started, as you called out rightly. Wow, oh, I didn't even realize Soul just stole the blue buff there. That's rude. Secret gets engaged on and does try and dismount and get over this wall. He misses it, so they're like, okay, well, all the pressure and ultimates get used onto Secret, and now the members of the Jester are able to start coming around. They are attacking this fight with less players, but Kanatu is zoning out Apperman this whole time. And with the empowered autos, Corporal is almost able to stay alive, but then the two members from the Hawks do fall down. But now Kanatu, about to get Meganar, is like, yeah, I can do this. I don't mind this. They're able to get Apperman, and then they end up getting, yes, it's just a 2 for 2. So, it really good, but the Hawks were expected, because that was a favorable fight for them. They should have gotten far more for it, or they shouldn't have lost any of their members. The fact that they lost at least 2 of them for that doesn't bode well for the rest of this game, and Kanatu has well and truly nullified Apperman's impression or impact on this game for the time being. It looks like the Hawks really need to hope that Apperman can scale and get some items out to really help all of them.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to scale when the Jesters are getting a hold of all the objectives so far. So it's 2 towers in their entirety and these 3 Drakes close to getting that Cloud Soul. And oh my gosh, yeah, we think the Impale is bad now for Hachimecha. Imagine having the Impale with the extra movement speed boost so that you're going to get dragged completely back into the opposing team anytime you get impaled.
It's a genuine fear that 3 of the members of the team over on the side of the Hawks are going to have. But also Tussle and Apperman are going to be slightly shaking in their own boots because they're nowhere near as tanky as they want to be. And the side of the Hawks with this 3 Dragon, they are going to be knocking in 5 minutes going, hey, Dragon Soul's here. You ready to fight us, Hawks? And the Hawks are going to be like, no, we do not want to fight you. They're currently knocking on this and Tussle's getting collapsed on.
There's the Impale, there's a drag back in, and it's not even close. While this is going on, the Herald is into the mid lane as well for Rascal Jester. They're looking to stamp their foot on the accelerator as they almost take down their tier 2 as well. 3 towers to none, 3 Drakes to none, and a 4K gold advantage coming close to 18 minutes.
This is absolute domination from the Rascal Jesters. 2 minutes till Baron pops up at that 20-minute mark, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jesters are like, yeah, let's just go for this. And Soul and Secret are just waiting for anyone to come and even say hello to them. They're just like, can someone say hi to us? I'm pretty sure we'll kill anybody because Hachimecha is a very, very fast Scorpion and can meet with us and hang out with us at a moment's notice.
Oh boy, I'm really looking as well. As we go forward into the game, there's so little gold there for the Hawks in comparison, and now they've got to pay the QS tax or Quicksilver tax for Hachimecha's Skarner as well if they're going to keep any of their carries alive.
Well, even then, even if they get the QSS, there's no guarantee that that's going to be enough because they've got Kinati, because they've got Recap, because they have Secret on these very specific champions of the Gnar, of the Silas, of the Rel. Just because you QSS the Skarner doesn't mean you're not going to get stunned, doesn't mean you're not going to get locked up, and doesn't mean that multiple members are going to dive upon you. What, you QSS the ultimate from Skarner? Oh, too bad. Mega Gnar ulted into a wall. You got stunned by Rel. There's just so much CC. At a point in time, you just have to have good spacing and hope your fancy footsteps are just better than what the opponent's point and click can do.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of execution we've seen here from Rascal. They've just been selecting members of the Hawks to pluck the feathers from. The only person with more than a single kill is Dasher so far, and of course, they're building the more supportive setup rather than pure damage.
That is huge damage coming out of that Ezreal ultimate just then. I was, is that it? A 1/3 of your health bar going from just one ability from an Ezreal is not where you want to sit. Tussle knows that Hachimecha's there, and he's like, I don't want to do that.
No.
What did we just see? What?
I think it was a second thought. Maybe they were ready to bring in reinforcements if things did go suddenly wild, but Hachimecha is so strong right now. 4 assists, and of course, that's the chem tank. All the movement speed they could ask for to make a play happen. We're 1 minute 35 away from the Cloud Drake coming in and forcing a reaction out of the Hawks to stop this insane combination. These engages, these picks becoming that much worse when they're empowered by the Cloud Soul.
wonder, do you think Cloud Drake is one of the best Drakes if you're going to double it for Rel, just because her movement speed is so bad at base, but the scaling actually doesn't hurt you too much? I wonder. Maybe technically it's the best one for her. I don't know. Mountain's pretty good.
I have to admit, I haven't honestly given it a thought. We can look it out for how well Secret can navigate these fights. I mean, they've been doing a pretty damn good job so far, and of course, Rel.
They have been.
You know, if you can get into the right place at the right time, you could do wonders.
Oh, you can, and they've got that chem tank now, so they're looking to go very speedy. So they want to get right into the middle of the enemy's team and hopefully get on top of either Dasher, Zenit, or they'll take Corporal or Tussle if they find them in the middle of multiple players. And so far, I would admit, Corporal has been trying to find the flanks, trying to find the ways around it, but Kinatu is far too tanky to stop and prevent them from going any further. They've already got 2 items completed of the Stride Breaker and the Randomin's Omen now, so that's not somebody you're interested in going anywhere near, and you don't want to charm him. You have to try and charm either Soul or Recap, but Recap, again, is very happy to be played because he's so big at the moment. He's got Leandri's Anguish already completed, and he's got a stopwatch, so he's okay with it. The Hawks are ready, and the Cloud Drake is up.
All right, so this is Soul time. This is the moment for the Hawks to come in and show what they're made of. TP coming in means this is the commit in. Not going to TP into the back of the squad at least, so that's some good news. You mentioned right before that it's so important to be taking the fights when the Mega Gnar is available. Upperman starts off the fight, misses on that initial engage. The Skarner is going to get ripped up, and no, almost deleted. Where's the last minute damage? Kakamata doesn't die, and that allows the counter-offensive to rip into the Hawks. Zenit fleeing at top speed. Upperman cannot get away. The rest of the Jesters laughing merrily as they chase down the Hawks. Dasher, the last one left standing, has nothing to defend themselves with. Triple kill for Recap, and a definitively one-team fight.
What an incredibly well-played execution from multiple members there of Rascal Jester. They were able to find that pick. I honestly thought Hachimecha was going to perish because he went so low during that team fight, but hey, he played exactly the role he needed to play. He tanked for the whole, or for all of the members, and they were able to safely escort the Skarner out of the fight, and Mega Gnar ultimate 3 members into the wall, which was the demise of multiple members of the Hawks. As we come into this team fight, they engage. Look at Corporal, he's ulted, and he gets a start. He gets the charm onto the Skarner. So much comes out onto the Skarner, but then again, he is the tank. Rel ultimate comes out, which was really big, and that allows obviously Kinatu to come around, get the Mega Gnar ultimate, multiple members thrown to the side, and now it's just a chase down. Dasher is able to almost escape, but sadly it wasn't good enough. He could have gotten out if he had just given up on this team fight a lot earlier on. Decided against it, allowed the ace to go through. Skarner picks up the Cloud Soul. Baron is over there, and now the Jesters are in the commanding lead.
All right, so we'll have to look out. Those ults now empowered by an extra burst of movement speed. It's going to be nightmarish. You can already see Hachimecha on this Cloud Rift is able to zoom around each of these Cloud-enhanced jungles. Corporal's getting caught off guard there, gets stunned, and then Hachimecha just runs away the second they see the Forge God coming.
You can just throw ultimates out now because we've got Cloud Soul, so it doesn't matter if it, especially Soul on this Ezreal. He's like, yeah, I can just throw the ultimate out. If I'm hit it, great. If I don't, it doesn't matter. Recap's now going to be more than happy to grab any ultimate, and he'll probably just use it to half the time even clear waves because he's like, it doesn't matter. I can just throw this out and steal another one and then use this ultimate and then rinse and repeat. They are absolutely in the driver's seat, and Rascal Jester are going to be knocking on the base of the Hawks.
I mean, this is exactly according to game plan for Jesters. Nice knock up there onto Tussle, bringing back in Corporal as well. Finally, after all is said and done, Hachimecha will fall down, but it's still a 2-for-1. It's still a take-it inhibitor. We've got the Baron buff minions as well. I don't think there's going to be another inhibitor taken immediately, at least. But RJ, they're going to give it a solid try.
Well, 2 members are down for the side of the Hawks at the moment, so they just have to concede it.
Yeah, my mistake. They've absolutely just gone in and smashed it down with nothing coming back from the Hawks at all. There is a knock up there on the Carter, but no follow-up at all. The damage just isn't there. It's Kaiser not comparing to Sol's Ezreal.
Sadly not, and as it is, I think this is now a formality for the Jesters to just recall, get any elixirs, get any potions, buy your last stuff. You've got a huge Baron buff play from this one. So now you just reset, buy your items, and then look to fight the Hawks on any way possible because you have over 10k gold lead. It's actually an 11k gold lead. We're seeing, it looks like Recap teleport into this top lane, and oh no, Dasher.
One zoomy boy, Dasher, trying to get away, but it's impossible. You can see Recap doesn't even look as they take down the mid lane and grabbing the double kill as well. You can see the pure dominance here of Rascal Jester. They are toying with their
Zedit and
food.
winning.
They don't need to use all the resources at their disposal to destroy absolutely everything. And there we go. Appamen standing in front of the tower, standing in front of the crumbling edifice of the Hawks game. Jester, they are laughing, chortling, cajoling. They have taken every inhibitor. They have taken every tower. They're looking to put the final nail in the coffin.
They really are, and this looks to be all things said and done. Jesters had a very strong team fight. They drafted as if it was everything again, and they're looking to just farm some minions on the fountain, because that's what they are, the enemy team. Congratulations to Rascal Jester on a decisive victory over the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming. And welcome back to the LJL Counterfeit.
Oh boy. I mean, as you said, it's the first of two games here. Certainly, the Hawks probably had most of their sights set on their second game against Axis, but that was just incredibly brutal stuff.
It really was. It really, really was. But we need to regain our thoughts very briefly. So we're going to pop over to a short break, and when we come back, we'll analyze that game in more detail. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the desk. Mars Swan, Counterfeit, a standard casting duo, if I do say so myself. A rather beautiful and flawless ones as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed a massacre. And it was not pretty. It was rather one-sided. The Hawks got slightly pulled apart piece by piece by the Rascal Jesters. It was the Jesters pulling apart a Hawk, and it wasn't in funny fashion at all. The first 10 minutes, though, at least we can say Counterfeit, well, it was at least even. It was even in the gold, and it felt like it was an even game for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, certainly coming up from our good friend, the Blitzcrank bot, I think that actually gave us a pretty good indication of what that first 10 minutes would look like. I think the big part where it went really off the rails was around the 10-minute mark. That's when it started building up for the Jesters, and it never came back. We never saw that power spike subside. And then this is entirely based on the Jesters' playstyle, that if they get the lead, they will always run away from it. Or run away with it.
And this is, yeah, oh, no, absolutely. Like, they are one of the few teams currently in the LJL. They were a very, I would argue the first 3 weeks, it really took them a while to figure out their play style. But with this victory, Counterfeit, I think it's safe to say, with 7 wins in a row, the Jesters have well and truly figured out the way to play a game, and I would absolutely agree with you. When they get ahead, it took them 10 minutes to get ahead, but once they found that first few kills in the bot lane, remember that huge team fight where Kianatu didn't even go mega in that team fight, and yet they were still able to win, and they pulled an inch and went a mile with it.
Yeah, I mean, you said it wasn't pretty, but honestly, it was beautiful what we were seeing it from the Jesters there. I mean, that was some incredibly crisp play from them. I think, if anything, it shows respect to the Hawks that they were going to give the Hawks so few ways back into that game. I mean, Kanatu didn't die a single time in the last game. They went crazy. And the last time, that was the difference between Kanatu and Apperman. That was the difference maker. This time round, it's across top lane, it's across mid lane, it's across bot lane as to a lesser extent as well. I think RJ as a whole, they have really stepped forward. I think as a squad, they're much stronger than they were last time these two teams met.
Believe the head caller when it comes to making a play on anything has been Hatchemetcher, and you can feel it through just how the map is played around this scanner, specifically this game. I was remembering the pick that happened onto Secret, and it looked so good. This was the best opportunity for the Hawks. It was around that mid lane. It was like, okay, maybe because they're finding Secret, there might be a chance. The fact that Kinatu was solo zoning out Apperman, and then when Zenit goes over to try and help Apperman, he's already at like 100 HP because he's already received so much damage back, and it ended up being a 2-for-2 trade. That was the best opportunity that the Hawks had in that game. And everything else, it went worse because right after that happened, another dragon went for the Jesters, another turret went down, and it was just methodically done, wasn't it, Counterfeit?
I mean, I have to wonder if we could ever get into a world where we could see a replay of this game where the Hawks just didn't take the bait. They didn't get drawn into these fights. That, as much as you might say in your comms as a team, we're going to lose the Cloud Soul here. This is really bad news. We have to contest this one. When you're this far behind at that point, then presumably you're not just going to lose the Cloud Soul, but you're also going to lose the team fight as well and start a snowball that you can't stop.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. If they just give it up, if they maybe also give up that Baron and try and turtle it out. The concern obviously does become, okay, if you turtle it out and for instance maybe have your just base turrets, you don't lose any inhibitors, you've still got your base. Don't the Jesters just wait out and just get Elder Drake and just then brute force their way through with the Baron buff and Elder buff? But I mean, well, that might get you an extra 10 minutes in this game. You might find an extra pick. You are playing a comp which can definitely find a pick when given the opportunity. Corporal, especially on that Rakan. You find 1 or 2 charms, you have a spot. But then that was part of the problem around that final team fight, wasn't it, Counterfeit? Multiple ultimates got thrown apart. The Encore and Charm from Rakan just missed completely. And those huge ultimates that Hatchemetcher on this Skarner was able to survive through was just unreal.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the heartbreaker as well, that when Hatchemetcher nearly went down near the Drake pit, that even if they had been killed, they survived on minimal health.
Yeah.
You'd have to think, considering they didn't do anything for the rest of that team fight, and the Hawks still got absolutely destroyed, that you can just tell that wasn't the right decision to try and blow all of your resources on a tanky member. Though, thinking about it, I don't know who it was they would have picked if it wasn't going to be Hachimecha.
Think you're ever getting on Soul, right? So
No.
you're never getting on Soul on the Ezreal. So it's like, who do you actually want to go on? The two tanks of Rel and Gnar? Well, that doesn't sound like a particularly good idea. You don't want to go on Skarner because we've already seen what that world looks like. And it's like, you go on Recap? That doesn't sound like a good idea. Whose ult has he stolen? I don't know, but if it's the Rakan one, none of us want to go near him. So yeah, I think you're right. I don't think the Hawks really had much of an option there. But let's just take a step back. The Hawks have got another game to play. They've got the narwhals of Axis to go against, and the Axis very much would like to have a better game. Both teams only had 5 kills in their losing match against V3 or Rascal Jester, respectively. 1 kill actually only removes these two teams from each other, so that's a very weird fact between the two games that we've just seen. But after this break, we will be having our final match of the LJL Super Week. And that's going to be the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks facing off against Axis. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.